Greetings, brothers, sisters, and heretics. Welcome back to George Hammer. I've got another brew, as you can see. It's a nice, lovely cup of coffee, not tea this time, because it is currently the morning, and as Hopper from Stranger Things once said, mornings are for coffee and contemplation. So, repeat after me and Hopper, mornings are for coffee and contemplation. Okay, there you go. There's a Stranger Things reference for you. I'm not going to be making any more. Yeah, so welcome back to the George Hammer show, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so I stated last time that I was going to be painting a 40k figure. And if anyone's seen my shorts, you might be thinking, oh, wow, maybe he's going to do his Orks. He did make a mention of it. Maybe it is going to be the Orks. Nope, it's a Adepta Custodes Blade Champion. Ha! Fuck all of you for thinking it was going to be Orks. Nope, it's, little Blade Champion, because I thought, well, again, like with the Hellsmith of Hasha, I looked at it and I thought, yeah, he looks cool. I kind of want one, and so I got him and built him and primed him, and then that's when I decided, you know what, I should probably start a channel. So alas, I didn't get the chance to show building it, but there's always other figures I can do, so that's not too bad. Sorry, I just lost my trail of thought then for a second. So I'm going to get started on that in a minute. I am just going to say real quick, when I put the shorts up, because one of my colleagues from work actually suggested, you should put shorts up on YouTube. They get a lot of views and that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I should do that. Little did I bloody realise, within one day, I got over 1,300 views, and I was like, alrighty then. So, yeah, I'm probably going to be doing more shorts, so that's going to be a thing. And then, obviously, if you check out the main channel, fantastic, I really appreciate any views or likes or whatever. I've also got a few comments. Positive ones mostly, waiting for the negative ones to come through, but we'll see what happens. So thanks to anyone and everyone that has watched my stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing my best to entertain everyone, and with that said, let's get started. So itchy head. Okay, so I'm just going to get because the Adepta Custodes are mostly gold, I'm going to be using my main brush, like the starter brush, because it covers more area. Just put that in water for a second, and I'm going to get the Retributor armor. In the last video I said that Lead Belcher is a really good metallic paint for silver armor. Retributor armor is basically the same, but for gold. So if you've got anything that's got a lot of gold armor, I would definitely recommend Retributor armor. It's one of the best gold paints around. It also looks absolutely amazing after you shade it. It just looks so amazing. Like, you paint something gold and then you shade it and you're like, oh wow, it looks like $1 million. Said no one ever. Okay, so just dab it there. Okay, all right, let's get started. So, like I said, because he is mostly gold, I can just paint the whole figure gold. So I'm just gonna do a nice big coat of gold paint pretty much everywhere. I am going to avoid his cloak, because his cloak is a reddish color. So I am going to try and avoid particular bits, but I can always correct it in editing and stuff like that. So, and like I said, if you do, if you accidentally paint it over a bit and you're like, oh no, this part was supposed to be blue and I've actually painted it red. Oh, fuck no. Don't worry about it. Just like go over it with either just using some white scar like a tip X, or again using the tip from my friend. Use Corax white, let that dry, and then white scar it. And that way it really does, like, it's like an actual Tipex effect. It corrects your mistakes. And yeah, just, you know, just have fun with it as per usual. That is going to be a repeated message from me for pretty much every single video. If anyone feels discouraged by painting or starting this as a hobby, do not worry, just have fun with it. You know, it is not the end of the world if you get something wrong, because at the end of the day, think of it this way. The first person who ever painted, like, they probably had no idea what they were doing, and you know, they were probably just like, oh man, this looks awful, what am I doing? And then some guy comes along, looks at his like splodges of paint, and just looks at it and just goes, magnifique, and walks off, and that's it. I mean, I guess in this scenario, I guess the first paintings would be from cavemen, because I actually read in the news recently they've discovered a 67,000-year-old painting, and it's literally a guy riding what looks like a bison, or like an early version of the bison. And I remember seeing that in the news and just thinking, wow, that's actually kind of amazing. But I'd also love to have been in that situation where you see the painting and you just get this caveman and he's like looking at it and just goes, this cow, this me. And then the other caveman just look at it, just look at the painting and go, ooh, like they're absolutely amazed by it. So he becomes like the bloody Da Vinci of his, I guess, clan. Like what would you call a gathering of cavemen? Tribe, clan? I actually don't know. I guess tribe. I guess I don't know. I'm just rambling on. Right. Let's get a bit there. Okay, just get his arms. Like I said, I'm trying my best to avoid particular parts. Like I'm doing his sword, but I'm avoiding the blade for particular reasons, which I will get into in a bit. So, yeah. I'll skip ahead in a minute because, like I said, I've noticed as well my videos are still pretty long, but when I was going through it, like with my last one, I was like, oh my god, it's long again. But when I thought about it, I was like, well, a lot of painting channels, they'll like explain how to do it and stuff like that, and they just cut to the chase, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to bash those other channels or anything like that, but they are very much cutting to the chase and, you know, just showing how it's done. Whereas I'm just, you know, like I've said, I'm just rambling about random shit. So yeah, there's that factor to it, and that's why the videos are so long. And again, like I said, if people enjoy that, then by all means, you know, keep watching. If people aren't too keen on it, then I will try and cut it down, but I'm not making any promises, because I feel like the commentary is a large factor of my channel. Yeah, that's it really. That was much my ramble about whatever. Again, that's one thing that I like about being able to do this, is I get to ramble a lot, because as many of you can tell, I like talking. Oh, shocker. I know. I like the sound of my own voice. No, I'm not that egotistical, but I do like to talk about random shit. Many of my friends can attest to that. And even some of my colleagues, like, I'll just talk about random shit. And yeah, I apologise if I annoy them and stuff like that, but yeah, can't help it sometimes. I like a good chat. But yeah, so like I said, I actually like doing this because it's just an opportunity to just kind of talk about random stuff and do my hobbies at the same time. So you know, it's really good. Hilariously enough, actually, speaking of one of my friends, I actually told him about my channel, and he was like, "Oh, what's it about?" And I said, like, "Well, at the moment, I'm just painting Warhammer figures, and I will be building some when I get like new models." I said, "I've just you know, talking about random stuff," and he went, "Wow, that's amazing." And I said, like, I've done a short about my orcs and how I still refuse to do them because I've got so many. And he literally just responded with, "How have you still not done your orcs?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm a terrible person." Oh, but yeah, it's he actually said, like, he said, "Wow, it sounds awesome what you're doing." I was like, "Oh, thank you. I appreciate stuff like that." Like, I mean, at the same time, like, you know, if someone turned around and said, "Wow, your channel's shit," I'd be like, "Well, all right then, that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I'm not going to stop you from saying that." But I'm still waiting for the day where I'm out and about and I'll come across someone that go, "Wow, you're that guy from YouTube," and I'll be like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Wow, your channel's shit, isn't it?" Like, I'm just anticipating it. Sounds a bit dark, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, right, so I believe I've rambled on for a bit now, and I've still got a bit of gold detail to do, but what I'm going to do is I'm now going to skip ahead and I'm going to show you the end result of that. So I will be back in a couple of minutes. Right, so this is all of the gold details done. Some of them will be painted over with another colour, like his gloves and his boots, but yeah, that's pretty much all the gold details done. Yeah, looks pretty awesome if I do say so myself. Okay, so the next colour is going to be the silver detail with lead belcher. Ooh, right, so let's get on to the silver details, but before I continue, bit of coffee to keep me going. Right, where is there? I have all my paints lined up, obviously, so sometimes I'll put them down and then I'm just like, right, where did I put this one? And I'm like looking, just like, Anyway, yeah, I'm only going to get a little bit of lead belcher because there's only, from what I've seen of the images, there's only a little bit of silver on him. So, probably don't have to go too wild. Okie dokie. Right. So, the silver parts I'm going to do are little bits on his mask. I believe it's below his eye level and the breathing tubes. He's got a bit of a chain, and there is, I think, maybe a few details on his gloves. I don't know. I mean, if not, I mean, like I said, the best thing about the Adepta Custodes is they are mostly gold, so it's not that big of a deal. Right, so I'll get the chain first. Okay. There we go, and get the back of it. Yeah, when I was doing the gold details, I had to do a bit of white scar coverage and that, because while I mostly got it pretty well done, as you could see from the previous image, bugger, I got someone a sword. Again, things like that. yeah, while I was able to get obviously most of his body, there were like odd bits where I was like, I don't want to paint that gold, but I got gold paint on it regardless. So, like I said, it's fine. Just go back and correct it because, like I said, I corrected it and he looks pretty fine now. So, it's all good. Okay, that's the chain done. Like I said, I did get a little bit on his sword, but I will correct that issue when I come to it. Now to get his mask. I just got a bit on his eye, but like I said, it's fine. What was I saying before? But when I was rambling about artwork and stuff like that, yeah. As I always say, people have different interpretations of doing it. I am, with regards to this, I'm just following the main paints guide. So if I see it on the box art, I'll just be like, oh, I'm going to paint it that way. However, you can improvise. So like, for example, like I'm pretty sure maybe they don't use lead belcher on this figure, but I am. So it's, and oh no, oh, it's fine. Yeah, quick thing, don't drop your figure while you're painting it. Luckily, nothing bad happened. But yeah, it's preferable you don't drop your figure. But yeah, so the guide will say like, oh, you should use this paint or whatever. Like if you go to the main Warhammer site, when they recommend what paints to use, they'll say, oh, you should use this, this, and this, and obviously, like that's done as a main guide, but I always believe you can improvise it. Like you don't have to follow it if you don't want to. Like if I really want to, I could paint this guy pink. It could be the very first pink Custodes. But I'm not going to because I'm like, well, yeah, I just want to do it the way I want to. But maybe someone will turn around and go, well, actually, the Custodes don't use lead belcher, and it's like, well, it's just the way I'm doing it, isn't it? There's no right or wrong answer. So that's the ticket. Okay, so I've done one layer of his face, so I'm gonna let that dry for a second, and then I will coat it again, and I will be back in a couple of minutes. I was gonna fix the issue on his sword. It's literally like a little like swipe across his sword. I mean, if it was red, maybe I'd leave it in so it looks like he's got a bit of a blood splatter. Like, oh, he's edgy. He's got a bloody sword. Oh, it's so edgy. But yeah, I'll correct it in editing. So I will be back in a couple of minutes again. Okay, so if you can see clearly, the silver chain there is done, and his face mask is done, which I am particularly proud of because I literally did that in 2 coats without getting a single mistake, and I'm like, oh wow. I was a little proud of myself. I actually gave myself a little round of applause when I did that, so yeah. Well done me. And yeah, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to I think I will do the first red detail, so I'm going to skip to that. Right, so the first red that I'm going to use is my good old trusty friend, a Blood Angel Red. There is a second red to it because when I looked at the figure, I was like, well, he uses red for his cloak and his knight mohawk thing. I actually can't remember what they're called. I feel bad, and I probably should know this because I do like knights and that, but the name escapes me at the moment. So if any of you could please leave a comment on what that is called, I mean, I'll probably look it up myself, but yeah, I honestly don't remember at the moment. Okay, let's put that there. So the Blood Angel Red, yes, like I said, it is going to be covering his cloak and this bit. So just get a bit there. And just, there we go. This part won't take too long, so I probably won't skip ahead. But yes, so I'll actually explain as well, why am I doing the Adepta Custodes? And the reason is because it's actually one of the 40k armies that I want to build up. I've actually made a little bit of a list in my notes, and it is like saying what armies I want to build in the future. Now, Orks is obviously one of them, as I've mentioned before, because I like Orks. The other one is Adepta Sororitas, because I do like the Sisters of Battle. I think they are pretty bloody cool. And hold on a second. A little bit detail there. Yep, there we go. Right, onto his cloak. So yeah, the Adepta Sororitas, because I do like them. And then the next one is the Thousand Suns, because I wanted to do one army for the Imperium, one for Xenos, and one for Chaos. And that was originally what it was supposed to be, but then I was like, but I also like the Emperor's Children, and I also like Drukhari. So I thought, right, screw it, I'll do a second lot. So for Imperium, it's Adepta Custodes, obviously, and the next one is going to be the Xenos would be Drukhari, and Chaos would be Emperor's Children. So yeah, I will be working on those. And from my last video, when I said about I'd be doing some particular purple Space Marines, that was what I was referring to, because the Emperor's Children are purple. I know some people will turn around and say, well, actually they're pink, but some are pink, yes, but I think they are mostly a purple colour. So yeah, it's whatever. I mean, I'm going to be painting them purple because, like I said before, purple is my favourite colour, so why would I not paint them purple? It's kind of like a Mace Windu from Star Wars. One of the reasons why he's my favourite character is literally because he has a purple lightsaber. That is literally the only reason. Which, fun fact, Samuel Jackson, who plays Mace Windu, his favourite colour is purple, and the reason why he has a purple lightsaber is because he requested to George Lucas if he could have one, which I thought was pretty funny. You know what, I'm probably going to skip ahead in a minute, so just going to get this bit at the end, and yeah, I'm going to skip ahead because I'm going to have to get inside there. It's going to be a pain in the ass. I actually forgot about his little, I guess you could say it's a skirt. Don't know. Yeah, his skirt will also need painting. So yeah, I will cut ahead now and show you the results. Okay. Right, so that's all the red done on him. So as you can see, his top bit is red, and his fabulous cape is also red, and his little skirt there is also red. So yeah, that's the first bit of red. So now I'm going to show the second red colour I'm going to use. Right, yeah, so the second red colour, but before I continue... Ooh, that's gotten cold. Gotta say, coffee is one of the only drinks that I can realistically drink cold. Because at that point it becomes like an iced coffee, doesn't it? Or as I heard one person say when I went into a Costa, he walked in and he just went, "Can I have an iced coffee?" And I was like, "You're from Brooklyn." Just I always find it hilarious how some people say coffee. Say, could I have a coffee? I don't know, it just tickles me a bit. Right. Yeah, anyway, so the second colour I'm going to be using is corn red. So this one is a darker shade of red. Don't know what that was. Bit dirt on the table then. But yeah, so corn red is basically, it's a darker shade of red. And I thought it would be perfect for his gloves and just a few details. I might also use it on his eyes. I was going to use Blood Angel Red on the eyes, but I thought, well, in artwork that I've seen and even in like some of the animations from the Warhammer series, whatever it is, the Custodes are depicted with dark red eyes, so... But again, like I said, it's just interpretation, so I will actually start with his eyes first. Just get a bit there. And his eyes are really, really small, as per usual, so... 1. And... 2. There we go. That's actually the one thing I actually do like about Space Marines, though. Their eyes are just very simplistic. They are still a pain in the arse, but they're very simplistic to do, so I quite like them. Okay, now onto his gloves. There's a little insignia on his gloves, so I am trying my best not to touch them. Let me just turn him upside down. Very nearly broke out into a song with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I had made the promise last time that I wasn't going to sing. So yeah, I'm going to not do that. I'm going to spare you the horror of my singing voice. Yeah, this guy's got a lot of like details to him, so I am trying my best to avoid certain details, but again, like I said for a fair few times, it is like the details can be very tricky to get, but it also kind of makes the hobby worth it, because when you finally complete something, you look back at it, you're like, wow, that's absolutely amazing, and you feel like so proud of yourself for doing it. So yeah, just get a little bit there. I think I just clipped a bit of his sword, but like I said, again, I will just go back and correct it. In this regard, because it is a base paint, but also because he uses gold. This is also another thing I actually forgot to mention before. If you're doing base paints and you accidentally paint over a bit and you're like, oh no, I've messed it up, but you don't want to use the Tipex technique, I guess I would call it. If you don't want to do that, you can just paint it over with another base coat. So in this regard, I've got a bit of red on a feature that I didn't want, but luckily that feature is gold, so I can just get gold and paint over it, and that corrects the issues. So yeah, it's again another thing that you don't have to really worry about. So like I'm probably, because I'm trying to avoid his sword, but I am probably going to accidentally get a bit of his sword here. So yeah, I got a bit of his handle there. So it's, again, like I said, it's not the end of the world. I'll just correct it. I think that's one glove down. Okay, yeah, one glove down and another one to go. I'll also be doing the I nearly said tassels then. I do not think they are tassels, but then again, I don't know. I actually don't know what they're supposed to be. Again, I should really brush up on my knight etiquette and clothing information. Because, yeah, the Adepta Custodes are basically, they're like knights, really. They are, in the lore, they are the perfect soldier because the Emperor personally created them himself. So, like, whereas the other Space Marines are like, you know, the factions descended from Primarchs. So, you know, the Ultramarines, Rabute Gilliman found them. The Dark Angels was Lionel Johnson. The White Scars of Jagatai Khan and stuff like that. So, yeah, I do know what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Adepta Custodes didn't have a Primarch. It was just the Emperor himself. And he was like, he just deliberately created them to be the best warriors in the galaxy, which is one of the reasons why many people in the 40k universe don't want to fight the Custodes, because it is just one of those, if you go to fight them, you're more than likely going to die because they are just that good at what they do. Yeah. Also, I mean, I don't really like getting political or anything like that. I'm going to avoid politics because I can't be asked for politics. It's honestly, it's just really annoying. Plus, you hear about it everywhere, so it's like, I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to do this channel for fun. But I have like been seeing stuff about like the recent like female Custodes, like they're saying like, oh, there's a female Custodes and it's ruined the series. And I feel like, because I'm doing one right now, I guess the question would be like, what do I feel about a female Custode? And I'm like, well, it's not the end of the world. Like, I mean, I'm not going to stop liking Warhammer just because they changed something. Because the thing about retcons is, yeah, you're allowed to be annoyed at them. Like, I mean, there's retcons in Star Wars that still annoy me to this day. But I'm not going to hate that hobby just because they changed one thing. So, I don't know. I always say to people, you're entitled to your opinion. You know, just keep it civil and stuff like that. Yeah, that's it. So my view on the Adepta Custodes and the female Custodes, I'm honestly not too bothered. Does it affect the gameplay in any way? No. Does it affect my hobby or anyone else's hobby? No, probably not. So it's like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, it's just whatever. But that's about as far as political I will go in regards to that. I mean, that's not really political, is it? It's just, you know, talking about random shit and stuff like that. Like, I've seen on the internet people get annoyed, and I'm just like, I'm not bothered. I'm not really bothered. I like to stay on the neutral ground. Like, I don't see it as a bad thing. So yeah, that's it. That's my take on it. So I'm just going to get this little bit here, and I think that is actually the second red paint style done. So what I'm going to do is, because like I said, I did make a couple of mistakes, so I'm just going to tidy those up and then I will be back. Let me just get this bit here. There we go. Right, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so his gloves, gauntlets, I guess, are corn red, and his eyes are now red. I also forgot to say that I was going to do part of his boots as well. So yeah, I've done that. I think that's it really, yeah. Oh yeah, I also did the back of his cloak with a bit of gold, because I realised, I was like, oh, I've not actually done that, so I just gave a bit of a dry brush on that, sorted that out. So yeah, it just makes it look a bit better. Okay, and now the next colour is going to be black. Yep, so let's get our black ready. I'm going to be using Abaddon Black. Realistically, any black will do. I know a lot of people say the best black is Black Templar, but I don't have that at the moment, so I just use Abaddon Black. But like when I've compared them, I would say, I think, because obviously black has different shades, I would say Abaddon Black is a dark black, and I think Black Templar is a jet black, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. That's not on properly. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Just put that there. Right. So what I'm going to do, the black details, is not much. It is literally his boots and his pants. So I'm going to keep it here. And I'm going to be very careful and avoid... I just did get a bit on the base there, but it's fine because I will be painting that later on. So just going to be very careful. Get around here. There we go. I am being a bit quiet for this one because it's like this is one of those where it's the detail is very, very intricate, so it's one of those where I'm trying my best to get where I need to. That'll do if I just look up there. Just get a little bit there. Okay. Got some on the top boot part, but it's fine. Like I said, I will correct that. Say okay. There we go. And perfect. I think, oh, hang on a second. Let me just get right in there. There we go. Yeah, that's it. And then just a bit. There we go. Yeah, so I've just got a few issues to correct, but I've more or less got his pants. And what was the other bit I was doing? What was the other bit I was doing? I've boots, the bottom part of his boots. Yeah, so I'll just, bloody hell, forget my own head if it wasn't attached. Yes, so his pants are done, and I'm just going to get his boots. These shouldn't take too long, but once again I'm going to cut ahead to the end result, so I will be back in a minute. Right, so if you can see, I have done his pants and the bottom part of his boots black. So there you go. Not much else to say, just that's it. And now we move on to the blades. Right. And that's my coffee done. So Usually when I finish my brew, that's an indication that we are close to done, so yay! Like I said, we're going to do the blades. Now, how I'm going to do the blades is, as you can tell, I left them white. I've left them white for a reason, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry brush them with a little bit of Frost Heart. So nice blue colour. I quite like it. I use it a lot for water and sometimes icy features when I do figures. But yeah, so the way it is with the blades is they're not like fully blue, or at least like I don't think they're meant to be fully blue. They kind of look a bit like it's kind of like if you tried to paint like lightsabers, like, because it's so hot, it's the center of it isn't actually any color. It's just pure white because of how hot it is. It's only a color because of the, like, you know, the light it gives off. So like, for example, like with the sun is technically like white, but you can see it's a yellow sun because the light it gives off. Again, I'm just rambling about shit. Anyway, yeah, so they're not like actual proper swords, I guess. Well, yeah, they are. Sorry, I messed it up. But it's the more energy swords. So to make it look like they are giving off energy, I'm going to get a bit of blue, dab it on my tissue, like so. And I'm just going to dry brush, like so. That will give it like a little bit of like an energy pattern kind of thing. Because I've also seen, I also play, I play Warhammer Tacticus, and when they introduced the Custodes into the game, which I think was fairly recently, they actually had the Blade Champion, this guy, and he actually was the swords that he used were like energy blades. So, and they did kind of look, like I said, kind of like, it's basically a medieval sword version of a lightsaber, really, in a way, if that makes any sense. So just gonna get a bit more, dab it on like I said, and I'm gonna do the second blade. Okay. Now, I would say with dry brushing, there are particular brushes you can use to dry brush, but I don't have that particular brush, and that's also mostly for dry brushing like bigger objects. But there is one, you can get a smaller variation, but like I said, I don't have that one, so yeah, I thought that's pretty good. Yeah, that'll do. I'll just let me get a little bit over here. There we go. Okay, so that's the blades done. Before I finish up, there are a few details. He's got, I guess they're jewels all over his body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly dot those out. I will show how it's done. Then I'm going to do the base, and then we'll get on to shading. Right, so as you can see, I've done his blades, just streaks of blue, like so. And as you can probably see, he's got blue dots all over him. Those are I think they're meant to be the jewels, or whatever they are. But yeah, so I've coloured those in. Oh, excuse me. So yep, they're done. And now I'm going to be doing the rocky bit that he's standing on, and then the base, and then wall shade. So yep, let's get to it. Okay, right, so to do the rock, I've decided to choose Mornfang Brown, because I thought, why not? And then because I'm lacking any standard miniature grass at the moment, I thought I would just coat the base with wildwood to make it look like he's in a muddy terrain or something like that. So it might actually look all right on its own, but if not, then I can get some miniature grass and just dot it about, just make it look a bit more interesting. And if that's the case, I will get some miniature grass sorted, put it on, and then take a picture of it and upload it so people can see. But at the end of the day, like I said, designing the base is entirely up to you. If you want to leave it blank, again, you can do it if you want. There's no harm in it. It doesn't affect the game or anything like that. It just, like I say, it just looks nice. So let's get a bit of Mornfang going. There we go. Just put it there. Try looking for spaces and that. Yeah, that'll do. Not much to it. So there we go. Put that there. Swish. I feel like that's going to be like a new catchphrase for the series as well. Like when I'm just dabbing my brush in water, you're just going to hear me go, swish. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, let's get the base going here. Hey. Oh yeah, there's a little skull here as well. So what I'll do with that is I'm gonna coat the rocky parts first, and I'll come back to it and do a bit of Corax white. So yeah, I'll remember to do that when I get to it. What was I going to say then? Yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping that this video, because obviously the previous video was the second part of doing my first miniature for the channel. I'm hoping this video will be a bit shorter, but I cannot make any guarantees. I can see that when I'm going to edit it, it's probably going to be like an hour long or something. Like, I'm hoping not, because it's like I want people to be able to watch these, and I don't want people to be, you know, overwhelmed by the fact of, oh my god, it's an hour long. And it's like, yeah, that is, I don't really want to be wasting too much time, but I don't know. I've noticed a lot of people do like longer videos, but it's a matter of perspective, isn't it? And it's a matter of opinion. Some people like long videos, some don't. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, I've nearly done the rocky base now. It's just a little bit more. There we go. And there we go. Yeah, it kind of looks more like he's standing in a giant pile of shit than standing on rocks. Like, it would be very, very thematic if he had Jeff Goldblum's voice and he just went, oh, that's one big pile of shit. Okay, so let that dry for a bit. And I'm going to do the base next, and then like I said, I will do the skull, I think. Yeah, I clipped a little bit with paint, but again, like I said, it's fine. So yeah, I'm going to do the base with wildwood, like I said, to make it look a bit more muddy and stuff like that. Wildwood is basically a dark brown, so it might look all right. But what I'll do is I will cut ahead now. Sorry, my eyes went a bit weird then. Vision went a bit blurry. So yeah, I will pick the base with this. I'll cut ahead and I'll show you everything that's done, and then we will get on to the last part. Okay. Right, so here's the base. Done the Mournfang with the rock and wildwood on the base. As you can see, I've got the skull done. I did do a bit of Korax, but then I thought, well, you know, if it's in the ground and it's meant to be a muddy terrain, just make it look a little bit dirty. So what I did is I got a bit of wildwood and I dry brushed a bit onto the skull. So it still looks fairly white, but there's a bit of like, you know, brown hue to it. Because, you know, it's like when you're playing out in the mud and that you get a little bit dirty. It's kind of like that. Although I very much doubt anyone was playing with skulls in the mud. Or maybe they were, I don't know. It is a dark galaxy, so I don't know. I mean, you know, they've got to find fun some way when they're at war. Anyway, yeah, just going to let that dry and then we'll get on to the shading. Okay, let's get started on the shading. I'm using Nuln Oil. Don't know if I said before, but yeah, I'm using Nuln Oil, and the lid was a bit stuck there for a second. Weird. Right, so again with shading is you can just go absolutely mental. So just going to get here and start here. Now, I know I said in the last video that I use Agrax when it comes to gold, but I decided to use Nuln Oil. I mean, the only major difference, because they're both darker shades, the only major difference is Agrax is a brown shade. It's a dark brown shade, and Nuln Oil is more of a black shade. So that's the only major difference. But either way, it still makes the gold look glistening. So, yeah. Get the top part here. Like I said, you just brush everywhere. I'll be doing a little bit on the blades because it'll still make it look really nice. But if you put too much on, obviously, you know, it might ruin it. And that's the thing. Like, I know I said, like, oh, just go mental with the shading. You do have to kind of be obviously a bit careful, because if you put too much shading on, it can look a bit wrong. So yeah, just use common sense and, you know, your rate. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut ahead and show you what he looks like when he's shaded. Okie dokie. And there we go. And somebody looks fabulous. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all shaded in that, and he's all glistening. So yeah, there we go. The Adepta Custodes Blade Champion, ready to serve the Emperor. All very good. And that's it. That's another miniature done, and I actually did it in one video this time. Yay! Well done. Yeah, I hope you liked this, and I will hopefully try to make these a bit shorter, but again, no guarantee, because a lot of it is me just rambling. But yeah, if anyone wants a shorter video, by all means let me know, and I will try my best to make these a bit shorter. I don't have much else to say. I don't know what the next figure is going to be. Just let it be a surprise for next time, I guess. So yeah, that's it. until next time, see you later, brothers heretic. Blah, blah. I can't even get my ending right. Okay. Until next time, brothers, sisters, and heretics, I'll see you around.